about them Cowboys. It's the Cowboys Squad, sponsored by Game Time. Everything Dallas Cowboys every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from America's team, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Cowboys Squad Show, starting now.
Well, we can now say it. The start of Cowboys training camp is now officially less than a month away, which is awesome. That is so good to hear, isn't it? Honestly, that is really, really good to hear. Less than a month away. But until then, the Locked On Cowboys Squad Show rolls on. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, FanDuel customers, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So there you go. All right, we start, as always, with a welcome to the co-host of the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast, Landon McCool. Landon and Marcus crushing it every day. We're going to talk more about what they're doing in just a little bit. And as always, my co-host on the in-season Cowboys postcast. Those are going to be here before you know it as well. The coach, former Cowboys coach, Glenn Stretch Smith. All right, coming up on today's show, we're going to have the very latest on the Cowboys, what they're doing, including a very interesting Micah Parsons, not contract update, Micah Parsons rumor. We're going to get into that. I'm going to tease that for a little bit. But I wanted to start off tonight's show with something that I think kind of follows in line with what we've been talking about week by week, building towards the start of training camp. Coach, I know last week you made fun of me for reading Pro Football Talk, and I do. I admit it. I confess. I used to be their sports update anchor for their national radio show. A little self-promotion there. But today they posted their post-mini camp power rankings, and it's not the rankings. I could care less about the rankings, but there was something else that I kind of took away from it, and I wanted to get your thoughts. So they put the Eagles at number 1, followed by the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens. Okay, no shock there, whatever. But they put the Commanders at number 6 and the Cowboys all the way down at number 19. And my kind of takeaway is that, I mean, we're locked in, no pun intended, with what the Cowboys are doing every game, every practice, every single day, right? Especially you, Landon and Marcus. And so we're seeing this transformation and the change, and Brian Schottenheimer and the whole thing, and the good vibes and the ping pong table and the competition. But my point is, long answer is, outside of our little area, our Cowboy world, I mean, really, the national media is basically saying, hey, we don't really think you did much, and we don't believe it. And until you prove it, we're picking the Eagles and even the Commanders ahead of you.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's fair as far as I'm concerned. And look, I'll even go as far as saying I'm glad. I'm glad to finally be playing the.
I feel like frozen.
Underdog or the looks team.
There we go.
All right, back. Yeah, so I think it's not the worst thing for there to be a situation in which they aren't looked at as the front runners. I mean, it feels like there's been a lot of times in the last 4 or 5 years where this team has been kind of prematurely crowned before they've kind of proven anything. So I don't think it's the worst thing to kind of get one of those kind of bottom of the half rankings when you had a less than stellar season last year. I'll also go as far as to say that, I think Pro Football Talk knows what they're doing. I think that they know the Dallas Cowboys get a lot of clicks, and putting their name down the bottom is definitely going to get some angry fingers clicking away on that link to see exactly what their reasoning is for putting the Cowboys down at number 19. And I'm here to tell you that the reasoning that they put them down at number 19 is so you will click on that little link and see that little article.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think it's both things. It's fair for there to be criticism and doubt with the Cowboys. I would love for them to continue to doubt us all the way throughout the season. That's the best way for the Cowboys to surprise some folks. And in a season in which they are playing one of the toughest schedules in football, their quarterback is coming off of a season-ending injury. I think that, you know, an objective, realistic Cowboy fan would look at the situation and say, you know, I believe that they're a better football team than that. But I also, you know, think it's fair for the outside national media that's not seeing this team every single day or is getting kind of, you know, the normal spin on the Cowboys to think that this team hasn't improved and to doubt everything.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest and let's look at just put it up there on the board what we're talking about here. Quarterback's coming off of a big injury. Brand new head coach, never been a head coach, brand new offensive coordinator, bunch of young hotshot coaches. I just got some new ping pong tables and shoot some hoops. You know,
ping pong table's undefeated, coach. Ping pong table's undefeated.
Yeah, you know, I'm right there with you. Everybody is fired up right now. But if you're realistic and you say what points you, other than the fact that we talk about this team every day, what would point you to say, boys, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go unload this bank account. I'm gonna get me a flight to Vegas. I'm all in on this team. What would point you to do that? What would we sit here and talk about question mark after question mark after question mark, and yeah, we can put a good spin on it. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to say if you're in the national spotlight and you're looking at it of all 32 teams,
yeah, absolutely.
Other than the fact that they traded for a disgruntled receiver from Pittsburgh, what has this team done that's made you think, boys, I'm ready to move the needle here?
Yeah.
And the answer is nothing. Not nothing. And that doesn't mean that I don't think Schottenheimer's going to do a good job. That doesn't mean that I don't think that they're going to do a good job on the offensive line. I mean, they got a defensive coordinator who, I mean, he didn't even know what personnel to get in the game against Washington last year. Lost multiple games late in the game. Do I think Eberflus is a good defensive coordinator? I do. But if you're looking at it from a realistic standpoint, nothing would lead you to say, man, have I got some snake oil and am I going to put on my blue glasses and I'm going to go color the crap out of this Kool-Aid and it's going to be blue and I'm going to drink it till the damn world looks flat and we're going to win 12 games. Nothing points you that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, you know, look, for me, if I have a brand, my brand is context. I think context is important, and I think that that the details are what convinced me that the Cowboys are going to be a good team this year. But if you're looking at it on a surface level, I mean, Coach just listed it off. He's just listing things off without kind of going more than surface level deep. Cowboys didn't do anything to quote unquote move the needle, and I think. The one thing that they could have done to kind of really thrust themselves into the conversation of you know, potentially being a hot shot team that's going to be in the Super Bowl talk all throughout the offseason is they could have gone out and gotten a flashier head coach, right? Like, I think that's probably what the national media would have looked towards in order to kind of cue them that, oh, the Cowboys had a good offseason. I think that they got the right guy. I think that they got the best guy that was out there for what they were looking for. We'll find out, right? But as far as like a fit for what we're doing and the particulars of all that, that's a lot of detail that you know, national media folks don't want to get into, don't have time to. It's much easier to say why did the Cowboys hire this guy that nobody else was trying to hire as a head coach? And so I think anytime that you're going to have a national media point of view on these situations, it's hard to cover the NFL when you're covering 32 teams. And so you can only kind of go so deep on each one of these teams, when you're trying to do a write-up on all 32. So I don't blame national media folks at this point for having little faith, because again, if you were to look at the list of offseason moves on a piece of paper without, kind of talking to anybody or seeing anything or trying to figure out how it all fits together, it's not hard to believe that a national media guy that's studying these teams just very casually would say, man, the Cowboys didn't really do anything this offseason to make me feel better about them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like doing that, because I really don't. I mean, I was brought up in a military home, and I can remember, my dad telling me multiple times, you see that sterno bum over there? I can go get him to say something negative. You see that guy? I can get him to say something negative. If you don't have anything positive to say, you know what? And that's how I think. But when I see, and I did, I saw the article where it ranked them 19, and initially it kind of you kind of cringe, like, oh, that's kind of a gut punch. And then you look at it and you're realistic and you say, man, okay, let's just start, read off to me who they have at 15, 16, 17, and 18, Jeff. Do you have the article? Because I'd like to know, let's just have the discussion right here. What four are in front of them?
Hang on one second. I'm multitasking.
Oh, Jeff, for crying out loud.
Hold on now. Let's see. Where did that article go?
Well, I mean, I think while he's finding that real quick, I think to your point, every one of these teams also has guys like us examining and feeling certain that their team's going to be better than they're being projected on these lists. I think one of the things that the Cowboys have kind of going for them on this is that, I mean, last year was the anomaly. It feels like they have consistently had a good enough team to have a lot of success multiple years. And I think if anything, the issue was getting over the hump, taking the next step. I have a hard time believing that if Dak's healthy, in which who knows, right? If Dak stays healthy for most of the season, that this team is not one of the better half teams in football.
I got it. Found it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
You ready? Okay. Let's see. So I'll do the Broncos are number 10. So after 10, you got the Packers at 11, Vikings at 12, 49ers at 13, Bengals at 14, Chargers at 15. This Steelers at 16, really? Bears at 17, Seahawks at 18, and Cowboys at 19, with the Cardinals at 20.
I mean, I'll just stop you right there. Minnesota at 12. J.J. McCarthy, guy's never taken a live snap in an NFL game. You got them 12. I don't give a damn if they got the purple people eaters on defense. I don't care. I mean, you see what I'm saying? So it's now wait a minute. Are you? I could see if they'd re-up Sam Darnold, I'd be like, well, okay. But I mean, J.J. McCarthy, freaking guy, the last time he played a live snap was wearing one of them black helmets with them, yellow stripes on it. Are you kidding me? And then I'm just like, really? I mean, do you really feel like that's the case? And then you just go somewhere. The guy from NBC that wrote this article is watching this podcast, giggling the fact that we're talking about this.
That's right. All the way to the bank. Yep. Well,
I think all those guys all those teams are going to make arguments that they're, deserving of being better than the Cowboys. But yeah, I mean, look, quarterbacks win these games. And as much as Stretch has an issue with the amount of dollars that Dak is making, I think we can all agree that Dak is head and shoulders better than all those quarterbacks that are on that list in that range. So, well, except for maybe Herbert, but even then, I think Herbert has a lot of the same problems that Dak does. So, yeah.
I mean, you're talking about the Vikings. I mean, Dallas beat them 2 years ago with Cooper Rush at quarterback in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I know. It's tough. Again, I hope they got a lot of people clicking on that article.
Well, they've drawn me off sides. I can tell you that, 'cause when I saw it, that's the first thing I'm thinking is like, okay, I get it. Denver at 10. Okay, they signed Hufanga, and they're much better. They signed the linebacker. They're much better on the defensive side of the ball. Okay, a quarterback and Nix that, you know, he kind of got that year behind him. But seriously, I'm just going to go to Minnesota at 12 and just go, really, you have that much faith in JJ McCarthy to get it done?
I mean, honestly, that's if we're going to continue on this, Seattle, they got rid of their better quarterback to get decidedly worse at quarterback.
I'm going to say I don't feel that way. I mean, I think Sam Darnold is exactly what he needed, was a change of scenery with where he was. I feel the same way about Daniel Jones, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying that at least Sam Darnold, he won 14 games last year. Okay, now I guess the argument's going to be, well, you're talking about the same Minnesota team. No, I'm talking about he won, and yeah, okay, playoff game, okay, crap down his leg, whatever the scenario is. But anyway, all of this it makes for fun talk on a situation where we're, you know, it's a Monday night and we're trying to figure out how we're going to come up with some content tonight.
Darnold, McCarthy, Geno Smith, it doesn't matter. None of them are better than Dak Prescott. I think that's ultimately the point. I think to get back to that point, like the original point of it, like, you know, it's about the quarterback ultimately at the end of the day. And I just, you know, if Dak's healthy, he's just in a different, you know, tier than all those guys.
And to your point, Coach, about taking the flight to Vegas and drinking the Kool-Aid, like a Vegas buffet. I mean, they are giving the Cowboys just unlimited heapings of motivation and
sure,
you know, opportunities to really play with a chip on their shoulder. Because really, as you know, Coach, you know better than me, it's all about the season. It's not about what you did last season or 2 seasons ago. None of that matters. None of that guarantees or translates any certainty the following. It's all about this season and who's healthy, who's available, and who can finish and who can get it done. So
yeah, and I do think that, you know, the point is teams coming out of minicamp. Well, I mean, are they taking? I just wish I wish I understood the criteria, but I'm not even gonna try to understand it because I don't. Well, number one, I don't agree with it, and you know, I believe this is a 9 or 10 win team if they can stay healthy. And now the exercise becomes let's go down through there and tell me if those teams ahead of them are all 10 win teams, and if they are, then you have them ranked right. If they're not, then lay off for 2 weeks and quit your job.
All right. When we come back, we're going to get into this new Micah Parsons rumor. Want to get your thoughts on this. And also, we're going to stick in the NFC East. I'll explain why. You want to hear that as well. We want to hear from you via the comment crew. Jump in, get your thoughts. We want you to be a part of the show. That's what we're here for. Your opportunity to sound off any questions for Landon or the coach. Fire away, bring them. We want to hear from you. We'll get to that as well. We got a jam-packed hour, which is now down to 40 minutes left because we had a Nice long opening segment talking about nothing. But hey, that worked for Seinfeld. It worked for us. All right. This is the Cowboys Squad Show on a Monday night. All right. Summer sports are in full swing. All right. And whether you're all about baseball under the lights, maybe golf on the green, or high stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action, right? Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Whether you're placing a same game parlay or watching a bet ride into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like you are a part of the action. So if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, we are back. The Cowboys Squad Show. Landon McCool, the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith. Great to be with you on this Monday night. Before we get to the Micah Parsons rumor, sticking in the NFC East, Des Bryant spoke out and says he believes that a team from the NFC East is going to win the Super Bowl this season. He just didn't say which one. But he thinks it will be a team in the NFC East that will lift the trophy next February, whatever that's worth. I'm just throwing it out there.
Everybody's making their June predictions and hoping that everyone forgets them by August, and then they can point to them again in February, right?
I told you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles have the best team in football right now. They've got the best talent. They've got the best team. So I guess maybe I need to go out on what he put it out on Twitter. I'll go out there and second that. I'll give him the second on that. I
there
think
you go. Yeah.
Be an NFC East team gonna on the 23rd of June. It's gonna win this whole thing.
All right. So with I don't know what was going on. It was at the NBA Fan Fest in New York, but Kay Adams of the NFL Network was there. I think she was there for the network.
She was podcasting with Micah. She was doing a co-show, I think, with Micah.
Thank you, Landon.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm not 100% certain, but I think that the deal was that she was co-hosting a show when KD's trade got announced. To Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
right?
She literally broke the news to him on the air.
Yeah.
They were there, which is
so there were a lot of eyeballs on because he was scheduled actually to be their guest. So everyone figured out, oh my gosh, this all went down and KD's about to go on to the show. So I think that's what drew a lot of eyeballs, outside of the normal eyeballs that would go into that show.
All right. Well, it drew a few ears as well with what Katie said. Kevin Durant says he believes that Micah Parsons will be a Washington Commander at some point in his career as he gets closer to signing his new deal with the Cowboys. Kay Adams said to Kevin Durant when Durant said, I will say 2 years from now. Parsons jumped in. He was right there and said, yo, I only rock with Dan Quinn. And then Durant said, exactly. That's all you need to rock with. And that was it. So that fueled the firestorm of all these rumors.
2 years is kind of a weird amount of time to suggest, right? Like, I mean, I guess what's the suggestion that they franchise tag him, or they do the extension, or they do just the 5th-year option, and then they franchise tag him and then let him walk to Washington? Because I have a hard time believing that.
I think he just guessed on the spot because he didn't know what to say.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think that's what I'm pointing at.
Let me ask you: Is Durant's agent the same guy that represents Parsons?
That's a good question. Actually, I don't know.
The only thing I know,
so, because I think Durant, I think David Maglada, who's Parsons' agent, only represents NFL players, if I'm not mistaken.
Katie.
It's a good guess, though, for sure.
It's. I mean, it just sounds like this. Just sounds like an art of negotiations. Jargon.
Kevin's a commander.
DC. Yeah, he's a DC kid. Even though he went to Texas, he's a DC kid, and like Landon said, he's a Commanders fan. So I think probably 99% of it is wishful thinking, if not more.
100%. And just you try to recruit him while he's got him in front of him, right?
And also he's no dummy. I mean, kind of dropping that match will maybe give a little spark to help Micah get his deal done with the Cowboys. So
Katie's very savvy.
I was just kind of hoping they could have that little head feathers band there, and that gives it the fight for old DC. All that.
They still have the Hogs there, the guys in the dresses, or did they?
I do. I think the Hogs do still show up, and they've just kind of changed the accoutrement that they are wearing around their pig snouts to like more kind of battle pigs as opposed to Native American pigs. I guess I don't know.
Okay, I would have never thought of that or guessed that. So thank you.
War pigs. I guess that's what they should be, right? War pigs. There you go.
The old Black Sabbath song. There you go.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay, we got a couple comments. This is Ranking GW says he got the notification. Is that the notification for the show starting? I think that's what he meant. Cool. I hope so. I try to get that out early so it hits everybody early.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe, and they'll
that's even better. That's even better. Mark Anthony 293 says it has been said over and over, the only thing that stops the disrespect and skepticism is winning. The team should take on the underdog mantra and own it, use it for fuel. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great. Let's do it. I think it's a great idea. There's nothing else to do with it at this point except for ignore it. So yeah, use it.
I mean, I think it's all. I'm not going to get carried away here, but and Coach is already laughing. But I think it's all right there. The fuel is all right there. Of just, they need to be healthy, like the coach said. But I mean, the fuel, the motivation. Everybody's going to be picking the Eagles and even the Commanders above them. They've got nothing to lose. All the pressure, like you alluded to from the last couple of years, that balloon popped a while ago. Just get after it, play loose, have fun, enjoy the season. A lot of guys playing for a lot of different reasons. So I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean that's the reality of it. I mean, the reality of this whole thing is that before the Pickens trade, this, and again, you can say you go in Vegas, they air condition the desert for a reason, and that's because they win. And the over and under number was 7.5. And okay, if you want to say Pickens makes it 9, then the question becomes: is Philadelphia better than a 10-win team? And the answer is yes. And is Washington a better than 10-win team? And the answer is yes. So I don't give a damn if they got Vince Lombardi coaching them or whoever. At the end of the day, they're the third best team in the NFC East until they prove differently.
I think Washington better watch out for ye old regression monster. But I definitely think, look, Eagles are Eagles and champs until they're told otherwise by somebody. So you got an uphill climb. Can I just throw out real quick? I also agree from the comments section that War Pigs is a much better name for the Washington team than Commanders. That's the Washington War Pigs. Like, that's what it should have been. I don't especially since they already have all the pig imagery. What are we doing here?
It should be Redskins. Come on. I mean, that's just, they were given so much money, and they were doing so much for, hey, you're not going to draw me into a political discussion, but what the hell are we talking about here? I mean, it should have never changed that. That's not going to change in how I feel at all. I mean, I'm kind of right there with Joe Theismann, or before he was about the Heisman, Joe
I was going to say, the guy who already changed his name for no good reason. You're standing behind that guy?
I sure am, Landon. I damn sure am.
All right, fair enough.
You think he changed his last name, or you think Notre Dame changed it?
I think either way, he didn't have as good a reason as
he
Washington
signed off on it.
Their name. So yeah, he signed off on it. So.
Yeah, I think War Pigs would be that's too. I like it. Don't get me wrong.
And alliteration, Washington War Pigs. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
come on, like that's just that makes it's certainly better than Commanders. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I'm with Coach. I think that it should have never changed. But that's another topic for another time. All right. There was another rumor, and Landon, I know that you and Marcus did a complete Dak dedicated show recently, correct?
Yeah. We started our positional series for just breaking down, each position as we try to get ready for training camp, just kind of setting the table for everything.
Well, for whatever it's worth, and again, I'm just throwing it out there. Former NFL MVP Cam Newton says if the Cowboys don't make it to the Super Bowl this season, Dak is DONE, done, and that Jerry Jones may already be looking at Arch Manning.
I mean, yeah, okay. What's the month again, Coach? I forgot. It's June, right? Okay. I just want to make sure I got that. Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here? Like, it's like everyone's got the stick the fork in him. He's done Dak comment. I mean, we've been doing this 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah,
we were doing this before he signed his last 2 contracts, to be honest. So, okay. I actually was on Coach's show earlier today. We talked about this very topic, and it was about the fact that I think that the timeline for what Cowboys fandom may want may be on a different track than, the reality of the financials of the situation, right? Like, I don't know, like, even if you wanted to go get Arch Manning, like, the reality of that, like, it would require getting all kinds of draft picks that you don't have. You'd have to earn the first overall pick, which probably means that Dak is hurt. And if that's the case, you didn't probably get a good, reading on exactly what you're doing. And you're also turning your back on Dak in the, just after the first year of his new contract. So it's not like you're going to easily wriggle out of that situation. And if you go and draft, like, let's say you get a genie and some magically you get the necessary things that you need to go up and get the number 1 overall pick. And on top of that, Arch Manning decides to come out this year, which is, again, another element of this that no one's discussing.
Right.
Okay, great. You draft Arch Manning. Fantastic. Now you've got Arch Manning while having a $60 million a year quarterback still on your books. And you put yourself in a situation where you're trying to build a team around a young Arch Manning while, God only knows how much either dead money you've got or just financial commitment already to the quarterback. You're going to hamstring Arch Manning in his first few years the way that this team had kind of was hamstrung with Dak early on because of the dead money from Tony's contracts. So I would hope that they would figure out a way to better clean slate this situation a little bit more for whatever next step they take. And beyond the fact that, like I said, even if we all are sick of Dak by the end of the year or feel like that he can't do what we're hoping he can do, I mean, you're probably on the hook for him I would say, for another 2 seasons beyond this.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with Cam Newton's. I mean, if that's his assessment, I can see why he has that. I could also look at this in another way, and it is what we talked about earlier today. But I'm not going to get over the fact for a while that this is a bad contract. It's a bad contract, and I'm not going to do anything more than to say, man, they shouldn't have waited so long. There's so many things that you could point to, and you know how I feel about pointing. I mean, you got one finger going out at somebody and 3 coming back at you, and I just think that everybody is going to have an opinion on this, and I do believe if he does not play very well this year, I think there could be a lot of shakeup. And I'm not talking about just shakeup with him. I could see other things happening within this organization, because they have they've gone all in on the quarterback. They hired who he wanted to hire, and I believe Dak wanted Shoddy as the head coach, and they went and made a trade for a receiver. And hey, if it does not go well, I'm going to tell you, this town, I promise you, I saw him. I was on the sideline when they booed Troy Aikman. I mean, they'll boo your ass in this town now. You can say, hey, it's Texas. It's it. Tell you what, you don't get it done, it could get ugly. So I see why Cam would say that. And then I flip the script and say, hey, you know what? If they go run the football, if they go get after people up front, and Dak's able to run play action and push the ball down the field to 2 really good wide receivers and a group of really good tight ends, I mean, hell, it's we could make both arguments here, but I can certainly see why somebody would say that. And I don't know that I have a real strong that I would have a real strong rebuttal or way to come back at him, because at the end of the day, he's been hurt 3 of the last 5 years. We know what his history is, and yeah, can he actually go get it done? We'll see.
Yep.
I think the rebuttal, if anything, is duh. I mean, it's the NFL. Things are on the line.
Results business.
He doesn't win. But I mean, I think ultimately, what are we actually talking about? Because they're not going to cut him. Like I said, for all the financial stuff that I just said, they may bench him. They may make moves towards trying to replace him. So, I mean, honestly, I think it's a lot of obvious big talk for a guy that's talking about something very nebulous that he didn't kind of set any kind of standard down. And I think that's the other part of the problem too, is that what's the standard here? And that's something that I've talked about with Dak in general for this season is it Super Bowl or bust? Is there no a level of play that he could have that implies that he had a good season and the Cowboys didn't make it to the NFC Championship? I think that's kind of why I wanted to wait. I feel like we all should wait until training camp just to see kind of where we feel like this team is, because if the team does look, like Coach said, if the team does look good, if the team does look like maybe they can move some folks off the ball, and that there's a run game that's actually being supported around Dak Prescott, and if he actually does have all these tools around him and it still doesn't work out and it's because of Dak, I think that's a very different situation than if, Dak wins 12 games and then loses Micah Parsons in the playoffs and they can't rush the passer and they lose 48-50, So I think where Dak is going to be in the minds of the Cowboys fandom at the end of this year a lot has to do with, what your expectation is for Dak by the end of the year, and does that tie directly to the Cowboys' playoff success in 2025?
I mean, let's just say that. I mean, he has a full year, and the team goes 6-11.
Yeah, I mean, then I think you got your answer. But
Correct.
I also think that what's the move then?
What's the what?
I think the question is at that point, like, what do you do? What are you going to do about it? Like, that's what I don't really know. I don't really have an answer for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We could sit here and play the game and come up with all kinds of, what if scenarios. Because you could convince me right now that this team could go 6-11, and then you could convince me that this team could go 10-7. I mean, I could be, I really could, and I know this roster. I talk to people in the building. I have all the stories, but I really do believe that you could make the argument and you could convince me they're a 6-win team, and I'd probably end up saying, okay. Or you could flip the coin and say, we're going to see some upside, and Jaden Blue's going to get after it, and Pickens is going to fit in, and defensively, they brought Fowler in here, and boy, they got Micah under contract, and he's coming off the edge, and they're, they got healthy in the secondary, what looked like a mash unit. I mean, Britt Brown and the boys did a phenomenal job, and man, they're a 10 or 11 win team, and I'd be like, drink that blue Kool-Aid. I mean, I really could. I could go both ways with it.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there for now. And I know we'll be back. We'll be talking about this many times before. And hey, another part of it, Cam Newton is trying to find a new space in this industry, and
he's also trying to get clicks. Yeah.
You got to give opinions. That's what people want. So, and the coach's point, he's got a unique perspective as an MVP, and he gets it. He knows, firsthand, if you don't play well, no matter how good or what you've done in the past, it's what have you done for me lately, as my former junior high school classmate Janet Jackson once said. So there you go. All right. Quick timeout. When we come back, I have another rumor for you involving the running game. Yeah. See? And you thought this was going to be a throwaway show. Come on. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. All right, welcome back to the Cowboys Squad Show. The coach, Glenn Stretch Smith, and Landon McCool, the co-host of the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast, along with Marcus Mosher, who will be back with us on Thursday morning. Programming note there. But between now and then, Landon, you, Marcus, what do you guys got coming up this week?
We're doing another mailbag question. We get so many questions every time we do mailbag.
Oh, that's great.
So it's always great to do one of those. And then obviously we're going to continue our march on the kind of positional groups. And what we're trying to do is at the end of each week, we're also going to try to have a guest on who's going to kind of just speak about the different position groups that we covered that week. And hopefully we're going to get Matt Harmon from Yahoo Sports to come in and kind of talk to us about the wide receivers, running backs, and hopefully a little bit of Dak Prescott too. Nice.
All right. Well, mention some of the different rumors, and there's one that keeps coming up, and I'm genuinely I keep reading it in multiple places, and I'm like, why does this keep happening? And it's Najee Harris, even though he just signed that cheap 1-year deal with the Chargers. Everybody keeps saying that the Cowboys should get him and he's going to be available. Why would the Chargers, after getting him at that low price, unless he has a horrible training camp? I mean, I don't see him leaving this season.
I think it's starting from the fact that, again, like, people are kind of trying to tea leave this situation a little bit, maybe more than it's there. I think they're putting pieces together because Omari and Hampton got drafted by the Chargers in the first round, so they're assuming that maybe that somehow makes Harris obsolete. If you listen to the tone of Greg Roman in the interviews that he's giving for OTAs and mini camps, that sort of thing, he won't stop talking about Najee Harris. Either he's throwing a lot of chum in the water for something on this, or what I think is more likely, he's an old ball coach who loves his veteran running back that they signed. And, okay, great, we got this rookie that I know I have to play, but I love this veteran running back that we signed. And knowing Greg Roman, I mean, not personally, but just knowing his style of play and the kind of coach he is, I have to imagine it's the latter, and that he just really likes the veteran running back. So, yeah, I don't know where the trade talk is coming from, because, I mean, they are extremely deep at running back, but I don't think that they're at a spot where they're going to be ready to give up their veteran running back and put it all on Omari and Hampton. Just because, that coaching staff, it just doesn't strike me as someone who is, they love to run the football. They know how important running the football is.
No doubt.
I don't think that they're just going to, throw away a veteran pairing with a young player that they like. They're committed to it. They're not looking to replace Najee Harris. They're looking to accentuate it.
Yeah, and with a quarterback they want somebody that's going to protect, understand how to protect, understand how to dual read guys. Yeah, it would be hard to think, and I'd be hard pressed and hard to think that they're gonna let a veteran just kind of get out of there. That to me, that doesn't make any sense, and it really goes against the reason that they went out and signed him, whether they were able to draft Hampton or not.
All right. Well, I think I think people have been kind of paying attention a little bit. We've talked a lot the last few weeks about the tight end position, and a lot of people are kind of now starting to get on the bandwagon about, hey, this may be a competitive Cowboys camp for the tight end spots.
Yeah, tight end's a spot where they have numbers, and obviously it feels like it was a down year across the board for the position. I feel like Schoonmaker, who is a guy that had struggled early on to kind of get any kind of traction. He dealt with an injury and just kind of had very inconsistent development, and a position that it takes a little while to develop anyways. I thought Schoonmaker last year kind of really stepped up in a way that you needed him to when Ferguson was hurt. It wasn't a lot, but you just saw generally more confident and better play. And then the hope was that, that this year, coming into the year, that he'd take a big step, having kind of ingested all the snaps that he played last year. And then, obviously we've heard a lot of talk about Brevin Spanford, and he's the big body in that room, that the 6, 7, or 8, 200. We don't know, man. It sounds anywhere from 270 to 280 pounds, because it sounds like he's gaining more weight. I mean, Coach, he was listed as 270 last year, and Schottenheimer just mentioned that he's gained 7 pounds. So I don't know what he weighs at, but he's about a biscuit short of being an offensive tackle. And so I think you just have like a great kind of little combination of these guys. And then we can't forget John Stevens Jr., who is kind of a real red zone target, a weapon, as a guy that even in his rookie year, before he tore his ACL, they were going to try to find a way to get this guy on the field and use him as an offensive weapon. And I imagine that if he can come back, now after back-to-back ACL injuries, if I'm not mistaken, with some sort of semblance of the same sort of explosion with that body type, that's a skill set that the Cowboys could certainly find a way to use. So, yeah, lots of optimism about. And then Ferguson, obviously himself, a guy that had a down year, got injured on top of that. But I think even before the injury, he just looked a little sluggish. He just didn't look like he was quite the same player. I think he put on some weight to try to play a little bit more online to help him as a blocker. And I'm not sure if it served him well necessarily. So I'm interested to see if he comes in a little bit quicker this year, because that's really where he's, his bread and butter is he needs to make sure that he's there for Dak as a receiving weapon, because he is going to be a major part of this receiving attack. So yeah, lots of excitement for there. And then on top of that, it sounds like Fergie and BSF both are potentially joining even Dak again at the tight end university camp that they are doing, that all the NFL tight ends kind of get together. And I think Kittle runs that, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, lots of good, interesting storylines at the tight end position. Lots of interesting folks.
Well, and that really is where it's, that's where it starts with the running game. I mean, you've got to be able to have some guys. Again, I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about a guy that's going to go hook a 9 technique. I'm talking about a guy that can stalemate. And if you can do that, and you have multiple guys that can do that, I can't tell you how stressed you can put a defense if you got multiple tight ends and you can balance yourself up on offense. Then it causes a defensive coordinator really to have to think, how are you going to blitz? Who are you going to set the strength of the formation to? How are you going to set your front? All the things that defensive coordinators have to deal with. And we talk about all the time, well, it's, we got all these Madden coaches and the game's changed and it's all about the vertical throwing game and all that. And some of that is fine. But at the end of the day, if you can't protect, I mean, who can throw, who throws maybe the best deep ball or one of the top 5 deep ball throwers in the league? Tua, who's the fastest guy in the league. I would guess it's Tyreek. What do they win? About 5, 6, 7 games a year at Miami with that. So you've got to be able to have the ability to get into 2 tights and sometimes 3 tights in short yardage and goal line situations and impose your will. And if you have that 275-pound guy who can run a 4.6 something, maybe 4.7, but he's physical at the line, that's going to cause people problems. And I'm telling you, defensive coordinators, they can say what they want to. They don't like 12 personnel, nor do they like getting in empty sets where you got them spread out all over the place.
Numbers bear that out too. 12 personnel is one of the most, even for the nerds, Coach, 12 personnel is one of the most efficient personnel groups that you can put out there. So it bears itself out in all forms. And this is a point that I again mentioned on Coach's show earlier today, is that I think this is something that they're going to be able to get a little benefit out of having Pickens here, because I think having 2 valuable wide receivers, again, points to being able to balance your formation up. It just keeps defenses guessing, right? It's just, if a defense has to send a blitz and they have to make a decision on which side they want to send it on, right. Look, your hot options on both sides are going to be good, right? Like if you miss, if you don't make it, and they have it blocked up right, now you're talking about Pickens running free with it doesn't really matter what cornerback running on a 9 route. If they've got it blocked up now because you've got an extra tight end, you've got the protection set right, you can punish teams on both sides of the formation now. And so I think that it's going to allow the Cowboys an opportunity to line up in more 12 personnel, because they're going to feel confident. Hey, I've got not just CD on this side and Tolbert or whoever, which, I love Tolbert, but again, he doesn't strike fear in your heart. I think having Pickens out there as a potential isolated man with a corner out near the boundary, it makes you think twice about sending any extra guys, because all it takes is Dak getting 1 extra step, 1 extra second, and Pickens is beating the guy down for a 70-yard touchdown up the sideline.
Well, and it's not just that you have 12 personnel in the game. It's you got guys that can play. That can execute in that. That's why you saw. The Chefs wanted to trade for Hendershot. They traded for Hendershot because they needed that guy opposite of Kelsey, that could play and had a little nastiness in him. And so those are things that it's the same way Pittsburgh. I mean, they're trying to trade for, and they've been trying to trade for Jonnu Smith, for a while, because guess what? Arthur Smith wants to get in and be able to run with Freiermuth. I think the Parham kid got hurt early in their OTAs, so they want to be able to have that guy in Jonnu that can create some problems for you. And you look at the Cowboys, and they have those guys. And if you watch, any football, you go and then you look at their depth chart, and you're like, damn, this team's got some pretty good tight ends. Now that that causes the pendulum to swing the other way. We talked about how many wins they could get. Guess what? If they become efficient in 12 personnel, and then they've got Lipke in the game, and they can run lots of different looks at you. I mean, now that that heavy girl at the skating rink, when it's couple skate guys' choice, you're over there going to ask her if she wants to skate a little bit. She looks a little better.
All right. I need to take our final timeout. When we come back, our final segment. We've got 5 minutes left to go. I'm going to get in trouble for this one, but that's okay. It's worth it. Good conversation. And now I'm thinking about the roller skating rink. All right. Final segment coming up. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. All right, welcome back to the Cowboys Squad Show on this Monday night. Landon McCool and the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith. Hopefully
this will be a couple skate guys' choice. Couple skate guys' choice. You weren't out there getting that done, Jeff. We talked about what kind of blue jeans you wore before. You didn't have those. You didn't have those Calvin Kleins out there working at with those big bumpers on your skates when it was guys only and they were playing the Hawaii 5-0 song.
What year did you guys grow up? Was this the 50s? I mean, my God.
No, this was
man. I'm 60 years old, bud. You're damn right. I mean, the skating rink was going on in the late 70s. Yes, it was.
That's fair.
You're damn right it was.
That's 70s.
You were probably still crapping yellow in a diaper. So, yeah, I get it.
Wasn't even born.
Coach, true story. You brought up a great memory. The big Northridge rink was it was a Friday night must for junior high school kids. And the big thing was for the couples dance, they would turn the lights, they would get the ball, get that ball going. And the big song was REO Speedwagons. I'm going to keep on loving you. And the real cool couples could skate backwards.
Oh, there ain't no question. And you had those. That's it. You had those tight jeans on, and if you'd have farted in them, you'd have sprained both ankles. I get it. I thought you were going to say it was the guy's song "Riding the Storm Out." Yeah, I'm right there with you. I had one of those. I was in junior high. I had one of those pixie sticks. It was about 4 foot long, and if you couldn't skate worth the rip, I'd whack the crack out of you with that pixie stick.
Nice.
What are we doing here? What are you talking about?
It's like the skates. This show is off the rails here. All right. Hey, one final thing really quick. This kind of goes along with what you're saying. Lewis Bailey says, hey, don't blame Dak. It's a team sport. Fair enough. And I agree. Rain King GW talking about the offensive line and span forward. And there was a little thing. I saw a little article. We've got a minute and a half, but just talking about like a Cowboys player that everybody might be forgetting about. And they mentioned former 5th round pick, Asim Richards, as somebody that could have a bounce back season. But where does he fit in, do you think, with the offensive line and what they hope to do?
I think Awesome Richards he's a swing tackle. I mean, he can play both ways. I mean, I like that. I like that as a guy that can create some depth. Hoffman's kind of the same way, kind of the guy that can create some depth. And if you have, issues at center or guard, so all of a sudden, you have some depth looking at both of those guys.
I'm a huge Awesome Richards fan, and I think he can play 4 out of the 5 offensive line spots. I think he's shown you he's proficient at guard and tackle. I think he even prefers to play guard, even though in this new kind of scheme, he may be a little bit undersized to play there right now. But I think, as far as capability, athletic ability, he's shown that he can go out there and he can be reliable. He certainly went out there and played as good at a tackle as you could expect any backup to go in there and play, especially a guy that was a kind of a second or third round, 5th round pick. So second or third year, 5th round pick. So yeah, I just think he's a guy that has earned his opportunities, and every single opportunity he's gotten, he's taken full advantage of, and should be fed more opportunities.
And awesome sounds even better than a seam. It's much better way to say it. And I love that. All right, guys. Here we go. We hit the hour mark. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode. That was, all things considered, I had some fun tonight. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I hear you. I can already hear the skating rink feedback.
I'm going to get my skates on. Put my helmet as soon as we're done here, for sure.
They still make skates? Do they still make those?
Hey, listen, I just drove past the White Rock skating rink. I know it's still open, so nice. That's where I'll be. That's what you guys can find me.
I mean, if you don't go in there and get you a damn Dr. Pepper and some of those chili cheese Fritos and skate around a little bit, you might as well just move to Moscow. You're a damn communist.
That sounds like a good
video
deal.
games down and get out there, right? Put the video game controller and get out there. Go on.
Exactly right.
All right. For the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith and Landon McCool, we'll be back with you again on Thursday. But, of course, Landon and Marcus Mosier will be with you tomorrow for the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast. Be sure and check them out. Subscribe. Thank you to everybody for being a part of the show, for listening, for watching, the whole package. We appreciate you very much. We'll do it again on Thursday. This has been the Cowboys Squad Show.